Greetings, this is Nobbler, Episode 7 of Adore the Quest. We are currently running a team of 2 blessed creatures, Scraw and Brior. Brior being a high-armored creature, able to create its own armor. So this is a mechanic that I have been exploring to see how that armor works from the player's perspective. And Brior is a pretty good tank, pretty solid, and Scraw has proven to be excellent DPS, partly because of the speed, but mostly because of the ability to have extra attacks. We're also to make up for the lack of healing orbs generated by my creatures in the 4th slot, working with Moosh, a creature we recently picked up that spawns a healing mushroom. And currently the quest that we are working on is to go to the Kiha Mountains once again to talk to Bikoro to understand more about the runes. And we're just going to dive right in. So there's a quick demonstration of the brute force of the team, as well as the healing powers. Both of my main fighting characters, Scraw and Brior, took some damage during those fights, but with just one summoning of the other 2, the healing creatures, I was able to get them mostly restored back to full. We're not going to pick up that particle of Gator Drake just yet because we currently have a full tank of particles, and just in case we see something that we'd like to try to capture, I think that would be good to keep that one particle standing by for later use. Really need to see is a blessed Kruth, the creature we just defeated there. Kruth is an excellent DPS character because of the fact that it also has multiple attacks, similar to the way that I'm using Scraw. Another advantage to Scraw on this team is that Scraw has the ability to drain health from targets. So he does a pretty good job of keeping himself alive. And even though this team is slightly lower level than the content that we're playing, given that we have some level 3 creatures on the team, they are doing okay. They do take some damage, but they are able to recover that if we make sure we're using those special abilities from Domu. So that just goes to show that even here by episode 7 in the 4th depth of the game, that we're still viable with a DPS and healing hybrid team. Definitely worth noting that at this point in the game, I am really depending a lot on the blessed creatures. The normal creatures limit at level 5. I have not yet determined if there is a higher level cap for the blessed creatures, but that will reveal itself in time. I know for sure that the regular creatures do not have the staying power to go much further than this depth. I'd say that they would be okay if you had a level 5 team. However, the blessed creatures do get to stack higher numbers of skills, which makes them more viable for harder content like this. And I'm debating if I want to open this chest. I think it's arcane, or excuse me, a mystic chest. But I'm just not sure that I'm really excited about mystic creatures. Finding that the Beast and Nature team seems to be a bigger preference for me. Why would I prefer the Nature and Beast classes? Well, that's because they tend to have better synergies with healing powers, and their DPS is pretty phenomenal too. I'm guessing that later, as you get into more advanced gameplay, that we'll see different mechanics for the other character classes, the other creature classes to be useful with. But after I finish this level, you'll probably see that back in the main village, I have reduced my total number of creatures that I have in captivity, just because I've realized that the further you get into the game, the more viable the blessed become, and so there's really not much point in maintaining a low-tier team that is not blessed. Being as I would have to replace a lot of creatures if I kept all those or get a lot of keys to unlock additional slots, I just went ahead and reduced the number of creatures that I have. There's quite a lot to choose from. As you can see, we've unlocked a good majority of those. We still don't know what the tier 4 boss is. but we have revealed at least the majority of the creatures, 26 out of 39 currently existing in-game. So if you would like to see some of these creature-specific in these videos, we could perhaps have you drop a comment for this video and just let me know if you would like to see a showcase of certain creatures and demonstrating their abilities. Or maybe just a encyclopedia to review what they have as base stats in the bestiary. That could be something I could actually tie into the end of this episode, depending on how the quests go. You can see the pacing between the Brior and Scraw attacks is pretty well timed, that if I get Scraw out first and then summon Brior, Brior's first attack lands right in between Scraw's first and second attacks. So that has a good synergy, good effect for balancing those attacks between two creatures. Quite a few zones to this map too, so it's going to take a little time to finish this zone. I could just go straight for the end boss, I guess, but I think it's worth exploring the side spaces just to make sure that we are able to acquire all the loot that we need for upgrades, for the artifacts, for potential blessed creatures, and other resources used like food. Yeesh. Got stuck in the wall there for a second. For example, those pieces of meat are great for healing effects. So when we're fighting the boss, under the Consumables tab, we already have quite a variety of foods to choose from, but we'll be able to make more later on to benefit our creatures. Moosh currently doesn't have any skill bonuses, nor does Brior, and Scraw's got some pretty basic food going on. And currently our selection of dishes doesn't offer a lot of the skills or abilities that I would be looking for my creatures. So aside from healing effects, I haven't been trying to build food that will give benefits to my creatures, especially knowing that eventually they will be replaced with super blessed creatures once I reach the end game. Another benefit to fully clearing out your levels means that your creatures will get the most experience for the adventure. Especially considering that I am replacing a lot of creatures right now, getting that experience up so they could get to level 4 for Brior and Moosh is pretty big. Another thing is that with Scraw approaching level 5, that will soon answer the question, after maybe 2 more levels, maybe 3, of whether a blessed creature exceeds a level limit of level 5. So here we are at the boss fight again. When battling with other summoners, I've remembered that the trick is not to fight their creatures, but to actually attack the Adorer in between when they summon creatures, and otherwise play highly evasive, avoid those area effects, and use food when the health is low. Pretty basic fighting strategies, so we'll get right into it. And Bikoro doesn't want to talk. Big surprise. So Bikoro, after being defeated, just basically stopped being rude, told us what we were asking about, and as usual has no interest in being member to the adventure. So we're looking for the rune in areas of the Forgotten Lands, is the next part of this quest after defeating Bikoro. And we had a pretty good fight there. I don't think I got hit with the Adorer at all. The Moosh creature got hit one time, which I'm not really too worried about that. He should be healed back up to full once we return to the refuge. And so just a quick review, here in the Adorer Shrine, you can see the primary team that I have equipped, as well as a reduced number of creatures in storage. I'm keeping the blessed ones that I've found. There's a Nira, Abu, Fubu, and Felwyn, none of which I would say are really that effective for my playstyle. Kruth and Zaya are OG, original team. Kruth being my favorite DPS creature, and Zaya definitely has a great crowd control with that stun effect, generates healing, and hits really hard. As you can see, a damage of 28 is no slouch. That's actually the creature that hit Moosh in that previous level and took it almost down 3/4, 75% of Moosh's total life. Zarki is the hardest hitting creature that I've found so far, dealing 35 damage, so of course I keep Zarki around. He'll only get more powerful, or she'll only get more powerful with levels. And Grin, because of the defensive orb and a barrier that blocks projectiles. That could be very helpful in levels where we might get swarmed with lots of laser beams or exploding projectile things. So that's the current team. I don't have a B team set up, aside from perhaps running Kruth Zaya, and some combination of other creatures just for difference in DPS. Right. Let's see what kind of food we can pick up before heading out to continue the quest. For 60 coins, get +2 aggressive. That is improved attack speed. That's pretty good. So we'll pick that up. Here, if I make this insect kebab, that'll give these skills to one of my creatures. Increase movement speed, attack speed, and health. And that sounds very nice for one of the creatures that doesn't have any attributes yet. So we're going to cook that up as a stat dish for one of our creatures. It also will free up some space in our consumables. So here you can see that insect kebab is going to be given to Brior, replacing the Divine Protection, maybe, to give it increased movement speed, attack speed, and maximum health. That's going to make Brior even more of a tank and also just a little bit more effective as DPS. So there we go. You see the health went up. And this dish will expire after one more level, so if we need to heal up, we're definitely going to be using that cooked meat with mushrooms. Our other meals could be combined for a big healing potion or food item. And I think this bug salad could be good for Moosh, because Moosh is still fairly low level, but increasing his attack speed, giving it Divine Protection, I think that would be a good choice too. So we're just going to go ahead and feed that to Moosh right now, granting 3 of our creatures now with Divine Protection, and see if we can cook up that meat into some super healing effect. 115% healing. A 75% cooked meat healing dish, just something raw for healing like that. Well, not raw, it's cooked, but something basic, just strictly for healing purposes would be useful. Great. Looking at our quest map, we need to go through 6 zones of the Forgotten Lands to advance the quest, and that's going to take some time. Nothing really spectacular as far as loot resources go. So we're just going to do this in order, and I might just fast forward through these 6 plays just to keep the video within the 1-hour time constraint, but also to try to get the quest advanced, because I don't think watching 6 runs of this zone is going to be that exciting for people, just to watch me play. So we'll do that in fast forward. Maybe play a little bit of jams while we do that, and then we'll see on the backside of completing 6 of these zones what happens next in the main quest of Adore the Quest. Looks like we're up against a bunch of Nira. That's annoying. The Nira creature is one of those that is definitely stronger for the non-player character model, because if you fight them, they can poison your creatures and they do a heck of a lot of damage, not to mention they jump in and then flip backwards out of attack range. So they're good on both as a player creature and as a non-player creature for their ability to jump in and out of a fight. The poison effect is really strong, but the problem is that if you are fighting against them, that every single one of them that you fight is fully charged and ready to use their full poison against you. So a lot like fighting the Felwinds, they have a special ability that just really kind of isn't good to face against. But enough about that. Brior has gained his first trait point here, so let's see. Movement speed, attack speed, maximum health, critical attack chance, or evasion. Well, I think that movement speed is very important in this game. But if I can get attack speed, nope, it's not going to give me the option. Could add crit chance. I guess we'll just stick with movement speed. That makes the most sense for me. Our other characters do not have any skill points yet to spend, so thank you, Draknar. I appreciate the skill up. Let's take a look at the map. Oh, I forgot about this. So when we're exploring these maps, when it talks about areas, it doesn't mean the entire level, it just means 6 of the subzones, so those little smaller regions that we transition between through those glowing gates. So this will be a lot faster than I expected. And as is, let's say, normal for the Forgotten Lands here, that the number of breakables is pretty low compared to other zones that I've been through. So this is another reason it's important to have a team that can generate healing on its own, because there will be less healing orbs created from general loot drops or breakables. And if you're wondering, my character is still using the artifact that generates healing orbs from these when they break. So there's a case example of it. It doesn't heal a lot, but a little bit of healing, when used multiple times, does add up. So it's just enough to keep the creatures topped off in between using their special abilities. So that's why I do keep that equipped, even if there's a lower number of breakables in the zone. Currently at this difficulty level, it seems like these blessed creatures are pulling their weight for sure. The healers don't need to be blessed just because their ability doesn't affect their stats as much. Rather, it's just a percentage that's generated when their basic creatures attack, such as the healing areas. Or effects themselves, sometimes those just don't improve at all. Just a static number, regardless of the rarity of the creature. As example, the healing orbs only ever heal 2 points of health, regardless of how much health your creature has. So presumably, once your creatures get really stacked and start to have a lot of health total, there's those poison effects I was talking about. They just stacked those up on Scraw. Took him down to half health, despite my special ability for healing. Now, I'd imagine that this game is a little more fluid using a controller, so that's something that I've been considering as well, is just using a game controller, because currently I'm using the WASD movement patterns that it does kind of limit the directions that I can control the character to move through. Basically being left, right, up, down, and diagonals between. But with an analog stick, I think that we could definitely see less of this mono-directional kind of movement, and it would probably be a lot easier to manage fights that way too. The trick, of course, is going to be the number of controls available. Because we'll need one button to summon each of our creatures. So that would be maybe the bumpers and the triggers. One button to recall all creatures. One button to use the staff's ability. Which should leave us with 2 quick keys left on a controller configuration. So we'll see how that goes for different episodes now. If you thought that I've been using a controller, well, I haven't. I've been sticking with keyboard and mouse. You can see just by the icons down at the bottom of the screen there. Very linear zone so far, so we've completed 5 out of 6 of the Forgotten Lands areas. Here's another mystic chest for us if we choose to open it. Fubu, using his cheater ability, become invincible and throw tracking missiles. Very annoying. Oh, that chest was an enemy. There's 2 mystic chests here. Is our rune. So I guess this advances our quest after completing the 6th zone. Quick check for any leftover resources here. And I still don't feel like opening any of these mystic chests. I'm just not very excited about what might be inside. I think it would be wiser to save those keys for closer to endgame when we've unlocked the potential to get super blessed creatures, possibly legendary creatures. That would make the most sense to me to just start stockpiling keys, because it's already been shown that blessed creatures can come from those chests, that tells me that super blessed can as well. But I would imagine that the game will not generate that probability until you have advanced far enough in the game that those creatures are a type within the loot table. Alright, so now that we've completed those 6 zones, we're back in the main town. Baldin gives us the next segment of the quest. Right, so now we'll get to equip the rune that allows us to capture legendary creatures, which means we're going to have to reduce one of our healing orbs to equip the mystic rune of Dukur. Once again, it's another one of those words that I'm not sure how to pronounce. We can capture legendary nature, legendary mystic, or legendary beast type creatures. And I believe the level 1 boss is a legendary mystic creature, the tiger. So we've equipped that one because the quest does say to capture a legendary mystic type creature, and I'm sure when we look at the quest map we're going to see, yes indeed, Gatordrick Forest. And that quest cannot be completed at a lower depth. So there is a blessed creature in the zone, and there is a legendary creature to be captured. Some of you who have watched since the, I think the 3rd episode, you might remember that sometimes I have this habit of killing the creature that I need for the quest. So hopefully that doesn't happen in this level. That would be kind of annoying to accidentally kill the legendary creature instead of capturing it. Hopefully they don't take up too many particles, because I see that we do have a blessed creature in this level. And if it's a Kruth, I am definitely going to be capturing it. Or failing to capture it and having to start over. So hopefully the legendary creature didn't appear to be blessed or anything special with that type, so it should hopefully only take 1 particle to capture that. So we'll see how that goes. Possibly we might encounter the boss before we encounter the last creature, and that will make things a little more evident for us to know what we'll need to do. It's a blessed bomber rabbit. A creature that I can't say has proven to be very useful. However, creatures are always good things to have. Capture one on it. It summoned its friends. So we'll lure them out so we can get some more hits on them. Make sure that we're capturing the right creature. It's really annoying when those other creatures get in the way and your creatures aren't able to just take down that one extra one because the artificial intelligence stacks them up on top of each other. So that's a skill that I need to improve on, I guess, is how to capture creatures in their multiple summon stages. One more reason why I really do like Kruth, because his attacks don't hit multiple targets. So on my current team, that is a bit of a concern. Scraw is getting kind of low on health, so we're going to have to be careful here. I'm not sure what I was doing in that last zone, trying to fight everything at once. But that didn't bode well for our health totals. I think this would be a good opportunity to use that 75% meal for Scraw. Some divine protection. That way everybody's protected in this fight against the legendary creature. If they do take lethal damage, that will give us a lot more endurance for that fight. Alright, which direction next? Yeah, it really is too bad that that wasn't a blessed Ruth. Got a healing potion if we need to heal the Adorer before that last fight. That's good. I do wish that healing potions were an item that you could pick up and take with you through the level. That would certainly, I think, add value to the gameplay. we're going to go with increased stamina regeneration. We want to be able to summon a lot of things quickly.
Looks like we've reached the boss's zone. That should be the next zone line that we cross. And our goal here is to capture the legendary creature, Luhar. Sounds similar to the word Lahar, which of course is a dangerous part of volcanic eruptions. We're just going to soften up Luhar a bit. Not a nice fight. No, not that one. You see, here's what I'm talking about again. We've got ads coming in while I'm trying to capture another creature, and it's just making it very difficult to effect that capture. Come on. Oh, that's so cheap. I was going to use a healing potion, but then it got stuck on a rock, so I couldn't avoid the attack. This game gets cheap sometimes with these environmental limits. Most frustrating. Now we have to go through that entire level again just to try to slowly capture the legendary creature that should have been captured because the game clipped badly on a rock. Very, very annoying. So, looks like we've lost our shards and our gold, so there's not much point in trying to do anything else here. I'm just going to have to go back in and try again. Yeah, that's pretty stupid, I think, that they've put the big enemy with the small capture radius that summons adds into a close quarters fight where you can't really maneuver around the zone freely. You know, just something that needs to be reconsidered, I think, in the balance of this game is with the capturing effects, how much the environment and the adds really impede the gameplay mechanics. Just because it takes a lot of options away from the player. You know, I can't say that I really like games that stick players into a small boxed area to mash up against opponents, whether that's in PvP or in open player versus environment. I think it's important that games give players the option of strategy, that is, to use the terrain and set up the fight to take place in a situation that the player can actually dictate or control a little more easily. So here we are again, round 2, capturing Nubar. Start this capture process here. As you can see, a tiny confined area, limited maneuverability. Our movement speed is drastically reduced when we're battling Nubar. Our progress resets very quickly against him. He summons adds which interfere with the process. I mean, overall, this is just not a good scenario. This is not a good combat sequence. Look how quickly that progress reset, and look how much we are taking damage. And then the adds are summoning back out, and we're low on health again. See, this is just a really crappy zone to be fighting in. This is not good at all. I have to say that I am kind of disappointed that the developers have created a fight like this that summons adds. Oh, and there you see, like, that was nowhere near the main boss, and the main boss still got hit and was killed by the area attack of my creature. It's just ridiculous, I think, that the capturing mechanic works like it does in this game. And I'm sorry to say that, I really do like this game, but especially when we're talking about the time it takes to capture the creature against your limited mobility because you get slowed down, plus they reduce the amount of movement speed that characters can build up and stack during a fight, plus the fact that it has adds being summoned along with the fight.
It's just a mess. And I have to say, they need to open up that zone a lot more. They need to remove the physical obstacles. They need to be able to separate the ads from the main boss. And I think really the easiest fix to all this is you could avoid having to redesign the mechanics of the game for those kinds of fights if we simply did not have the little radial dial that spins around for the boss to be captured. You can see here it's likely going to kill that blessed creature again if I try to separate it from the other scraw that's out there with it, because they trigger their attacks at the same time. They're running side by side, they're not separating out. This is just really kind of a trash situation to have ads, and you can't designate which creature gets hit. The player has no control over that factor. You just have to try to space them out. And you can see that, like, right there, we got stuck on that rock for no reason for roughly 2 seconds. All of those little factors, the environmental clipping, the bad chase and stacking mechanics of enemies when they stand on top of each other, and the rotating blobs that go around the enemies while you're trying to capture them. There we go. It's just, you know, it's barely doable, I think, for the blessed creatures. Super blessed, I know, is going to be a nightmare. And these legendary creatures are also pretty bad just because of the zoning. There's no space to work with. Even in that open situation, just with the blessed creature, it was still pretty difficult because I was getting stuck on those little rocks. Rather than the game's artificial intelligence saying control inputs are giving a movement command, and so when you're clipped against an object, maybe redirecting around the side of that object, you know, a smart directional movement program would be helpful there to prevent the getting stuck on a rock. So that could just be the way that they're designed. Down here, for example, this rock that I got stuck on, it's 2 pieces, so there's a middle part right here where we can't move left, right, or anything. We're just like inside of the rock and not able to get off of the rock. And so there obviously should be something that limits the player's ability to actually walk onto that rock if it's going to work like just a container trap. The enemies aren't going to path into that, but the players can get stuck into it. It just really isn't a good environment with that setup. So enough about complaining, let's get on with playing the level. Moosh some leech effect. And Brior gets another stat. Looks like it gets a lone bonus or an armor damage bonus, and neither of those are appealing, so we're going to consider crit, movement speed. Stick with movement speed, thus making Brior faster.
see another situation where we're stuck in a small space. We got hung up on this rock here, trying to move around it. So, I mean, looking at the entire overall environment, that would be a lot of work to have to fix every single little rock that is generated, as far as how the terrain is, interfaced with the player's controls. So I do think just an easier workaround, an easier solution is to stop the capture ring from spinning. Maybe just make the capture ring always face the door. I think would be a much better solution than playing this game of Ring Around the Rosie, trying to figure out which side to stand on when you're capturing something. Because that's what forces the player to have to move into a tricky environment. Because the creature controls where the player can move. The capture ring rotating as it does. And so that is what takes away player choice, is that we cannot say where our character moves if we're going to be capturing an enemy. The game's artificial intelligence dictates, and the map limits our options there. And I'm all about player choice. The player should have more control in the fight strategy overall. So, I do strongly recommend, I think this would be a game-saving feature, to simply make the capture ring always face the door. A secondary option, if that one isn't very popular, of course, would be to reduce the amount of time it takes to capture. So perhaps that could be in the form of, if a character stops actively trying to capture a creature, that the progress of that capture does not decrease. That would definitely save a lot of heartache as far as when players come close to capturing something that by necessity they have to evade an attack and their progress is reset, particularly on fights that have a very long capture timer. There is a limit to the endurance that a player could run in this game, just because of the scenario of consumables, the food expiring after a certain number of levels. There's just a lot of factors that can't be sustained through gameplay. And so, having fights that frequently need to be reset or rebuilt or replayed doesn't add value to the game. If it's on a expiration shelf life that's limited, we need to be able to use those one-time or limited use resources and have full effect from them without needing to cancel actions like resetting our capture progress, replaying levels. And I think that would work well to basically just fix that capture mechanic. That's really what slows down this game. It takes a lot away from it, a lot of quality. Considering the alternative, just to maintain the capture mechanic would require reprogramming so much of this game. The landscape interfaces, the controls and movements. You would need to reconfigure the consumables and how quickly they expire or they persist through turns. Or, you could just change the capture mechanic to be a little bit more workable within the existing game structure. So, push come to shove, I'd say reprogramming a single mechanical operation by eliminating the rotation effect of a capture ring. That's just removing some existing programming. They don't even need to delete it, they can just disable it until they can refine that feature later. That would just be a lot easier than reworking the entire map and reworking the consumables timer system. But I do strongly think that the game does need a rework of the capture mechanic. This time around, for the fight, we're going to try going with movement speed effects. And look at that, it sent 2 enemies to corner me inside of a closed space. Again, that's pretty bad artificial intelligence programming like that. I have the option of going to get that healing orb or getting out of this trap because the creature's aggroed from a far away place in the zone. We need to be able to see those creatures and maybe limit the range that they aggro, so when one creature in the zone takes an attack, it doesn't make every creature in the zone run straight towards the player. Just some other mechanics that could use some benefit while this game is still in beta. The terrain is consistently the problem that we have with this game. Here in this fight, we do have a little bit more open terrain to work with, which is nice. In order to actually fight, we're having to take some hits early on. You can see how we're still getting snagged on the train here, which is extremely annoying, highly unproductive. You see, we're already below half health, and we weren't even able to get up to 50% capture rate on Luhar. And now we've got an annoying Mikra. Our creature's artificial intelligence pathing is making them attack the wall instead of Mikra, which is also annoying. Our creatures are taking a lot of damage. We're taking a lot of damage for no reason, just because of terrain and mechanics. And we still are 0% closer to capturing Luhar than we were at the beginning. And look, he's stuck in the corner where we can't work around the creature to capture it, so stuck outside of its capture window. We have to be close enough to actually gain ground on the capture mechanic. It's just not a good fight. Wasted 2 food products, 2 of our creatures were taking damage there. By the time we clear 1 enemy from Luhar's path and start to capture him, he summons another enemy that gets in the way and moves against a wall, so we can't actually maneuver around Luhar to capture him. So, I think just out of frustration, we're going to have to call this episode at this point and say that that fight really needs to be reworked. I'm sure it's possible with enough tenacity, with enough getting after it, that somebody's going to luck out and eventually get a good run. But we shouldn't have to, as players, depend on situational luck and circumstantial happenstance to be successful in a game. Part of playing the game is to enjoy it and to be in control of our actions, to have choices, and to feel a lot less like we are at just the mercy of something that happens to us. If that were the case, it's really not much different than a movie, where you just watch and see what happens. So, I guess in conclusion, we'll hope to see some improvements on the capturing mechanics of Adore. That's certainly something that will limit the success of this game, I think, in the long term, if they don't address that issue before it gets too far into development. Because as a player, I think I would have a lot more enjoyment just collecting keys and opening random chests, with the hopes of finding a legendary creature or a super blessed creature, just because of how unfeasible it is to capture those creatures. Now here, we've got a super blessed, along with Luhar and a blessed creature in this zone. So you can see more shenanigans in future episodes of Adore the Quest. we're going to call this a wrap. 3 failed attempts at capturing Luhar has given me enough frustration to last for a week, so we'll see you next time. This is Nobbler, and have a great day.